Welcome back. So we've seen how to assign variables to different values. For example, on line 1 here, we have code that assigns the variable x to the value 6. And what that does is you can imagine a variables values table that says x now points to 6. And so what that means is that after we've assigned x to 6 on line 1, if we print out the value of x on line 2, then this should print out 6. Because Python asks, what's the value of x? It looks in this variables values table, it sees that x points at 6, and it gets 6. Now, what happens if we say something like on line 3, x equals x plus 1? Now, on first blush, this might look almost like a contradiction, but the way that Python evaluates this expression is it first computes the value of this expression, and then it takes the value of this expression and assigns it to the new value for x. So in other words, what Python is first going to do is it's going to ask, what's the value of x? And Python is going to get 6. And then it takes that and adds 1 to it, so the value of this expression, x plus 1, is going to be 7. And so all Python does is it computes the value of x plus 1, to which we get 7, and then it puts that as the new value for x. So x is no longer 6, x is now 7. So now when we print x on line 4, then this prints out 7. So if we run our code, you'll see that when we print out the value of x on line 2, we get 6. But then after reassigning x to be x plus 1 on line 3, and then when we print out x on line 4, then we print out 7. Now, this kind of operation, where we say x equals x plus 1, or whatever x's previous value was, we want to add 1 to it and reassign that to x, that's actually really common. And for that reason, Python includes a shortcut for incrementing and decrementing like that. So let's run through this code. So on line 1, we assign x to have the value 6, and then we print out the value of x, which is going to print out 6. On line 3, we have this special syntax where we say x plus equals 3. X plus equals 3 is a shortcut for saying x equals x plus 3. Now, it allows us to just say the name of the variable, x, only once here, so it's a little bit shorter and less verbose, especially if we have much longer variable names. So again, this increments x by 3 and reassigns it. So if we have our variables values table here, on line 1, we've assigned x to be 6, and then we print out that. On line 3, we say x equals x plus 3 by saying x plus equals 3. So x is no longer 6. X instead becomes 9. Then when we print out x, this prints out 9. And then we can do the same thing with subtraction. So we can say x minus equals 1 as a shortcut for saying x equals x minus 1. And so that's going to take x from 9, and it's going to reassign it to the value 8. And now when we print out the value of x, then we're going to print out 8. So you can see x goes from 6 to 9 to 8. So we can do reassignment as many times as we want. So we can say s equals 1, and then we can add 2 to it, then we can add 3 to that, and 4 to that, etc. If I run this code, you'll see the different values of s. So s starts out as 1. When we add 2 to that, it becomes 3. When we add 3 to that, it becomes 6. When we add 4 to that, it becomes 10, and so on. Later on in this course, you'll find a much shorter way to actually do something like this. Now, let's run through some multiple choice questions. What gets printed out when the following statements execute? So here we assign x to be 12, so x has the value 12. And then we say x equals x minus 1. So the value of this expression, we replace x with 12, and we subtract 1 from 12 to get 11, and we take 11, and that's x's new value. So x is no longer 12, x is now 11. So when we print out x, we're going to print out 11, or C. Next question, what gets printed when the following statements execute? So here we first assign x to be 12. Then we say x equals its previous value minus 3, since x goes from 12 to 9. Then we say its previous value plus 5, so x goes from 9 to 14. So then we say x equals x plus 1, so it goes from 14 to 15. And so x ends up with the value 15, or C. Next question. Construct code that will result in the value 134 being printed. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to assign an initial value for bank balance. If I tried to put this first, then Python, when trying to evaluate the value of this expression, would say that it didn't find a variable named myBankBalance. So I know that this line can't come first. Here, I can do the assignment first, so I can assign myBankBalance to 100, and then I can reassign it like I do here. So this looks valid, and by the end of running these two lines, then myBankBalance is going to have the value 134. And then if we print out the value of myBankBalance on line 3, then we're going to print out 134. Next question, which of the following statements are equivalent? So I see this statement reassigns x to its previous value plus y. This statement assigns y instead of x, so I know that this can't be equivalent to statement A. X plus equals x plus y looks like it's similar to statement A, but what that's really saying, because we have plus equals here, is x equals x plus y. So here we have that extra x plus, so that's not equivalent to statement A. But statement D is, and then statement E just wouldn't work. So statements A and D are equivalent. That's all for now. Until next time.